Calling you, send me. I know.
Tengo nuevos audífonos, de todos modos escuché el ruido porque mi computadora es una mierda. Pero tengo nuevos audífonos. Me los regaló mi sugar daddy. Y aparte, vamos a jugar un juego que también me regalaron de Steam. Se llama, no tengo idea de qué trata, no tengo ni la menor idea de qué trata, no he visto nada, ni siquiera lo he abierto porque lo estaba guardando para esto. Y se llama, aquí está, se llama The Stanley Parable, no sé cómo se dice en inglés.
Excuse me.
Pero es que ni siquiera sé si es de terror. A mí me gustan los juegos de terror, pero me gusta saber que son de terror. ¿Sí me entienden? No sé de qué es, se los juro. A ver, esto voy a leer lo que dice una información, pero está en inglés. The Stanley bla 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 es un juego de exploración en primera persona. Tú vas a jugar como Stanley, pero no vas a jugar como Stanley, que vas a seguir la historia, pero no vas a seguir la historia. Vas a tener como la elección, pero no vas a tener la elección. El juego va a terminar. El juego nunca termina. Ok, desde la información ya me está haciendo volar la cabeza. Así que...
Que empiece el juego.
This is the story of a man named Stanley.
Esta es la historia de un hombre llamado Stanley.
Stanley worked for a company in a big building where he was employee number 427. Employee number 427's job was simple. He sat at his desk in room 427 and he pushed buttons on a keyboard. Orders came to him through a monitor on his desk, telling him what buttons to push, how long to push them, and in what order. This is what employee 427 did every day of every month of every year. And although others might have considered it soul-winning, Stanley relished every moment that the orders came in, as though he had been made exactly for this job. And Stanley was happy.
Ok,
And then one day, something very peculiar happened. Something that would forever change Stanley. Something he would never quite forget. He had been at his desk for nearly an hour when he realized that not one single order had arrived on the monitor for him to follow. No one had showed up to give him instructions, call a meeting, or even say hi. Never in all his years at the company had this happened, this complete isolation. Something was very clearly wrong. Shocked, frozen solid, Stanley found himself unable to move for the longest time. But as he came to his wits and regained his senses, he got up from his desk and stepped out of his office.
ok. Entonces, les cuento todo lo que nos dijeron ahorita más o menos. Somos Stanley de nuestro cubículo, es este, el 427. Y somos felices trabajando en un lugar en donde solo nos dan órdenes, nos dicen qué poner aquí y todo, y lo hacemos y ya. Esa es nuestra vida básicamente. No sé qué tenemos que hacer ahora. Ah, sí. Y un día dejaron de darle órdenes, o sea, de la nada, todo lo que él conocía como su vida perfecta y feliz, nomás haciendo lo que otros le dicen, dejó de pasar. Y
But
aparecimos
Stanley
aquí.
simply couldn't handle the pressure. What if he had to make a decision? What if a crucial outcome fell under his responsibility? He had never been trained for that. No. This couldn't go anywhere except badly. The thing to do now, Stanley thought to himself, is to wait. Nothing will hurt me. Nothing will break me. In here I can be happy forever. I will be happy. Stanley waited. Hours passed, then days. Had years gone by? He no longer had the ability to tell. But the one thing he knew for sure, beyond any doubt, was that if he waited long enough, the answers would come. Eventually, someday, they would arrive. Soon, very soon now, this will end. He will be spoken to. He will be told what to do. Now it's just a little bit closer. Now it's even closer. Here it comes.
Ok, Stanley le empezó a dar miedo como que tener que tomar decisiones por su cuenta porque nunca lo había hecho y no lo habían entrenado para eso. Y dijo, pues voy a esperarme aquí nomás. Y se puso a esperar y esperar y esperar. Y a que algo pasara, alguien le diera una orden y volviera a ser feliz. Y no, pues parece que no pasó, volvimos a estar aquí. Creo que es algo que pasa cuando cierras la puerta, ¿sí, verdad?
But Stanley simply couldn't handle the pressure. What if he had to make a decision?
Sí, es
What if
como
a crucial outcome fell under his
un final.
responsibility?
Bueno, es lo que yo entendí. Básicamente estamos tratando con un tipo que nunca ha hecho nada en su vida que no haya sido decisión de otra persona. Está cerrado y ahora nos enfrentamos al hecho de que tenemos que tomar decisiones por nuestra cuenta. Ay, qué miedo.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo. No matter how hard Stanley looked, he couldn't find a trace of his co-workers.
Ok, que todos sus compañeros de trabajo se fueron.
Stanley went around touching every little thing in the office, but it didn't make a single difference, nor did it advance the story in any way.
Que todos sus compañeros se fueron, así que Stanley fue a la sala esta de reuniones. Y ahorita ya apagué la computadora, dice que Stanley se puso a toquetear las cosas, pero que eso no cambia la historia en nada. Así que vamos a dejar de tocar cosas porque, no sé, ya me dio miedo. Es que no sé qué es el juego, no sé si es de terror, de miedo, de qué. Y la descripción no tenía mucha información que llegamos, pues se las leí, estaba bien confusa. Pero bueno, ¿y cuál es la sala de reuniones a todo esto? ¿Será derecho? ¿Me voy derecho? Confío en las puertas abiertas. Es que todo está bien asqueroso, todo está bien cochino. Ay, me recuerda a
When
los
Stanley came to a
backrooms.
set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left.
¿Qué? No le puse atención. Es que me recuerda a los backrooms. ¿Dijo left? ¿Cuál es el left? Follow the leader, follow the leader. To the left. Left es izquierda, ¿no? Supongo que todas las puertas que tienen números son de otros trabajadores. Aquí está la sala de
Yet there was
reuniones.
not a single person here either. Feeling a wave of disbelief, Stanley decided to go up to his boss's office, hoping he might find an answer there.
Ok, no había nadie aquí, así que Stanley decidió ir a la sala a la oficina del jefe. Ok. Es que siento que se me quedó algo sin toquetear, me voy a saltar algo. Ay. ¿Y qué hacemos aquí, por cierto? No lo entiendo, algo de global y mercado, bla, bla. Broom closet. Uy. Vamos a barrer.
Stanley stepped into the broom closet, but there was nothing here, so he turned around and got back on track.
Está narrando lo que hago, que entré al closet y que vi, pero
There
que
was
no hay nada
nothing
aquí.
here. No choice to make, no path to follow, just an empty broom closet. No reason to still be here.
Entonces, ¿por qué me das la opción de entrar si me vas a decir que no hay nada aquí, que me vaya a la verga?
Coming to a staircase, Stanley walked upstairs to his boss's office.
Y si quiero ir para abajo, me deja, o también me va a decir de cosas de que, ay, no, tienes que ir para arriba. Ay, me dio miedo. Me recuerda un juego en donde aparece una lámpara que es de terror. Es que no sé de qué, no sé si es de terror, no sé qué esperar, no sé qué esperar. Tengo miedo. Tengo miedo y no sé si debería de tener miedo.
He considered the possibility of facing his boss, admitting he had left his post during work hours. He might be fired for that. And in such a competitive economy, why had he taken that risk? all because he believed everyone had vanished. His boss would think he was crazy. And then something occurred to Stanley. Maybe, he thought to himself, maybe I am crazy. All of my co-workers blinking mysteriously out of existence in a single moment for no reason at all. None of it made any logical sense. And as Stanley pondered this, he began to make other strange observations. For example, why couldn't he see his feet when he looked down? Why did doors close automatically behind him wherever he went? And for that matter, these rooms were starting to look pretty familiar. Were they simply repeating? No, Stanley said to himself, this is all too strange. This can't be real. And at last, he came to the conclusion that had been on the tip of his tongue. He just hadn't found the words for it. I'm dreaming, he yelled. This is all a dream. Oh, what a relief Stanley felt to have finally found an answer, an explanation. His co-workers weren't actually gone. He wasn't going to lose his job. He wasn't crazy after all. And he thought to himself, I suppose I'll wake up soon. I'll have to go back to my boring real-life job pushing buttons. I may as well enjoy this while I'm still lucid. So, he imagined himself flying and began to gently float above the ground. Then he imagined himself soaring through space on a magical starfield, and it too appeared. It was so much fun, and Stanley marveled that he had still not woken up. How was he remaining so lucid? And then perhaps the strangest question of them all entered Stanley's head. One he was amazed he hadn't asked himself sooner. Why is there a voice in my head dictating everything that I'm doing and thinking? Now the voice was describing itself being considered by Stanley, who found it particularly strange. I'm dreaming about a voice describing me, thinking about how it's describing my thoughts, he thought. And while he thought it all very odd and wondered if this voice spoke to all people in their dreams, the truth was that, of course, this was not a dream. How could it be? Was Stanley simply deceiving himself, believing that if he's asleep he doesn't have to take responsibility for himself? Stanley is as awake right now as he's ever been in his life. Now, hearing the voice speak these words was quite a shock to Stanley. After all, he knew for certain, beyond a doubt, that this was in fact a dream. Did the voice not see him float and make the magical stars just a moment ago? How else would the voice explain all that? This voice was a part of himself too. Surely, if he could just... He would prove it. He would prove that he was in control, that this was a dream. So he closed his eyes gently, and he invited himself to wake up. He felt the cool weight of the blanket on his skin, the press of the mattress on his back, the fresh air of a world outside this one. Let me wake up, he thought to himself. I'm through with this dream. I wish it to be over. Let me go back to my job. Let me continue pushing the buttons. Please, it's all I want. I want my apartment and my wife and my job. All I want is my life exactly the way it's always been. My life is normal. I am normal. Everything will be fine. I am okay.
No.
Stanley began screaming. Please, someone, wake me up. My name is Stanley. I have a boss. I have an office. I am real. Please, just someone tell me I am real. I must be real. I must be. Can anyone hear my voice? Who am I? Who am I? And everything went black. This is the story of a woman named Mariella. Mariella woke up on a day like any other. She arose, got dressed, gathered her belongings, and walked to her place of work. But on this particular day, her walk was interrupted by the body of a man who had stumbled through town talking and screaming to himself, and then collapsed dead on the sidewalk. And although she would soon turn to go call for an ambulance, for just a few brief moments she considered the strange man. He was obviously crazy, this much she knew. Everyone knows what crazy people look like. And in that moment, she thought to herself how lucky she was to be normal. I am sane. I am in control of my mind. I know what is real and what isn't. It was comforting to think this, and in a certain way, seeing this man made her feel better. But then she remembered the meeting she had scheduled for that day, the very important people whose impressions of her would affect her career, and by extension, the rest of her life. She had no time for this, so it was only a moment that she stood there, staring down at the body. And then she turned and ran.
Ok. Perdón por no hablar todo este tiempo, pero es que está diciendo cosas muy interesantes. Voy a subtitularlo, pero de todos modos, para los que no quieran leer, lo voy a explicar más o menos. Ya ven que bajamos las escaleras en vez de subirlas.
Already this was uncomfortable, and Stanley decided that as soon as he found a new space he felt safe in, that he would never leave it again in his life.
Ok, básicamente no seguimos las instrucciones del güey. Entonces Stanley empezó a pensar, quizá estoy volviéndome loco y todos mis compañeros desaparecieron por alguna extraña razón y así. Luego pensó, quizá estoy dormido y voy a despertar. Y la voz que nos está escribiendo todo lo que pasa, que está narrando, empezó a decir, no, pues que Stanley empezó a imaginarse que está en el espacio y fue cuando salimos en el espacio. Y así empezó a describir todo lo que veíamos. Luego Stanley se preguntaba, ¿qué pedo? Si esto ha de ser un sueño, porque veo hacia abajo y no veo mis pies, ya saben, lo típico de los videojuegos, ¿no? O camino y las puertas se cierran solas atrás
When
de
Stanley
mí.
came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left.
Y Stanley se empezó a preguntar también qué pedo con esta voz. Y cuando vio que no podía despertar, empezó a gritar y a correr y todo se volvió rojo y al parecer morimos en una calle y nos encontró una señora llamada Mariela. Lo voy a subtitular, pero esto es por si la gente que no quiere leer los títulos, no pasa nada, aquí se les explico todo lo que vaya a estar pasando, pero neta, leer lo que está diciendo. De hecho, no sé si se puede poner de ya. Ok, ya tiene subtítulos para cuando esté diciendo cosas, pero de todos modos voy a tratar, porque es mucha chinga, de subtitular lo que haya dicho la voz antes. Y al
Yet there
parecer,
was not a single person here either. Feeling a wave of disbelief, Stanley decided to go up to his boss's office, hoping he might find an answer there. Coming to a staircase, Stanley walked upstairs to his boss's office.
al parecer, si no seguimos las instrucciones de este güey, pasan como que cosas raras. Y ya sabes, como otros finales. Yo lo veo así como finales. Pero sigo sin saber si debería de tener miedo. Y eso es lo que me tiene como que nerviosa. Baño ejecutivo. No quiero ir al baño Stanley ahorita. No sé por qué. Yo me andaría miando, la verdad. Esa es la oficina de su jefe. Está demasiado bien, la verdad. Elegantiosa.
Stepping into his manager's office, Stanley was once again stunned to discover not an indication of any human life. Shocked, unraveled, Stanley wondered in disbelief who orchestrated this. What dark secret was being held from him? What he could not have known was that the keypad behind the boss's desk guarded the terrible truth that his boss had been keeping from him. And so the boss had assigned it an extra secret PIN number, 2845. But of course, Stanley couldn't possibly have known this.
Ok, atrás del escritorio, 2845 dijo, ¿verdad? Dijo que atrás del escritorio. Aquí, yo pensé que iba a estar
Stanley
como
just
que
sat
por
around
ahí.
twiddling his thumbs. Trying to input anything on the device was useless, since he could never possibly know that the combination was 2845.
Me está diciendo la combinación, pero está tratando de decirme que básicamente no debería de sabérmela. La voy a poner, voy a seguir.
2845.
Ahí voy. Perdón, 2845. ¿Qué pasaría si la pongo mal? A ver. No, no pasa nada. 28:45.
Forgot, but it turns out that the panel's emergency override kicked in, and the door just opened all by itself. And Stanley got the hell along with the story. Well, whoop-de-doo.
Lo siento. Ya me está regañando porque no sigo la historia. Es que está... Yo quiero saber qué hay en los otros dados que no me dices. Lo siento, señor narrador. Abajo. 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 Está muy fea la oficina de Stanley, tiene mucha cosa terrorífica. Pero era feliz, es lo importante, que haya sido feliz.
Descending deeper into the building, Stanley realized he felt a bit peculiar. It was a stirring of emotion in his chest, as though he felt more free to think for himself, to question the nature of his job. Why did he feel this now, when for years it had never occurred to him? This question would not go unanswered for long.
Ok, Stanley se está empezando a sentir libre por tomar sus propias decisiones, pero no es cierto, este güey nos está diciendo todo. ¿Cómo te vas a sentir libre, cabrón? Este güey no nos deja hacer nada. ¿Será ese el punto del juego? Que aún después
Stanley
de todo...
walked straight ahead through the large door that read Mind Control Facility.
Aún después de todo, Stanley siguió las instrucciones de alguien hasta el final. ¡Ay, no! Ya me dio miedo. Vean eso. ¿A ustedes no les recuerda alguna película de terror? Vámonos, vamos a escapar. Sí se puede, sí podemos
Although this
escapar.
passageway had the word escape written on it, the truth was that at the end of this hall, Stanley would meet his violent death.
No, yo no quiero morir. ¡Oh, nos está mintiendo! Nos estará mintiendo. Es que tengo mucho
But of
miedo.
course, Stanley thought better of it and realized he simply had too much to live for.
Vamos, chingue su
Nope,
madre.
still on board with death?
Es que yo creo que me está mintiendo. No, sí vamos a morir. Pero quiero ver que nos va a matar.
The door behind him was not shut. Stanley still had every opportunity to turn around and get back on
Oh,
track.
tengo miedo.
At this point, Stanley was making a conscious, concerted effort to walk forward and willingly confront his death.
Ay. Ay, Jesús. Ay, Dios mío. Sí me morí. Creo que sí me morí. No me digas que voy a tener que pasarlo todo otra vez.
As the machine whirred into motion and Stanley was inched closer and closer to his demise, he reflected that his life had been of no consequence whatsoever. Stanley can't see the bigger picture.
No puedo
He
hacer
doesn't
nada.
know the real story, trapped forever in his narrow vision of what this world is. Perhaps his death was of no great loss, like plucking the eyeballs from the blind man. So he resigned and willingly accepted this violent end to his brief and shallow life. Farewell, Stanley.
Bueno. Eso fue todo.
Farewell, Stanley, cried the narrator, as Stanley was led helplessly into the enormous metal jaws. In a single visceral instant, Stanley was obliterated
¿Por qué
as the
cambiaron el
machine
narrador?
crushed every bone in his body,
Ah, sí
killing
morí.
him instantly.
Ah, no. ¿Qué está pasando? Ahora me pregunto qué hubiera pasado si me hubiera ido derecho. Chinga madre.
And yet it would be just a few minutes before Stanley would restart the game, back in his office,
Ah, no,
as
sí morí.
alive as ever. What exactly did the narrator think he was going to accomplish? When
morí.
every path you can walk has been created for you long in advance, Death becomes meaningless, making life the same. Do you see now? Do you see that Stanley was already dead from the moment he hit start?
Que estoy muerto desde el momento en que empecé la partida. ¿Por qué? O sea, siempre me voy a morir. Ay, qué confuso. Estoy en el cielo. Ya se acabó. No, yo no quiero que se acabe todavía. Ya se acabó. Esto es como un museo.
Oh, look at these two. How they wish to destroy one another. How they wish to control one another. How they both wish to be free. Can you see? Can you see how much they need one another? No, perhaps not. Sometimes these things cannot be seen. But listen to me. You can still save these two. You can stop the program before they both fail. Push escape and press quit. There's no other way to beat this game. As long as you move forward, you'll be walking someone else's path. Stop now. It'll be your only true choice. Whatever you do, choose it. Don't let time choose for you. Don't let time...
Ay, no entiendo nada. Se trabó. Ah, no sé. Lo voy a volver a empezar. Vamos a ver qué. No puedo ir derecho. Lo siento, narrador. Debí creer en ti. Hay más papeles, ¿verdad? O es mi
All of his
imaginación.
co-workers were gone. What could it mean?
Me incomoda tanto no saber qué está pasando, no saber si en algún momento me voy a encontrar con algo feo, o también el simple hecho de no encontrarme con nada me está volviendo loca.
Stanley walked straight ahead through the large door that read Mind Control Facility.
Ahora sí, nos vamos derecho.
The lights rose on an enormous room packed with television screens. What horrible secret did this place hold? Stanley thought to himself. Did he have the strength to find out?
Sí. Y tengo la fuerza para averiguarlo. Ay. Cámaras.
Now the monitors jumped to life, their true nature revealed. Each bore the number of an employee in the building, Stanley's co-workers. The lives of so many individuals reduced to images on a screen, and Stanley, one of them, eternally monitored in this place where
Todas las
freedom meant
oficinas.
nothing.
¿Y la mía dónde está? ¿Para dónde voy? Aquí suena, ya basta. Mira, me puedo suicidar. Ah, no. ¿Qué dice ahí? Ay, no sé, no alcanzo.
This mind control facility, it was too horrible to believe. It couldn't be true. Had Stanley really been under someone's control all this time? Was this the only reason he was happy with his boring job? That his emotions had been manipulated to accept it blindly? No, he refused to believe it. He couldn't accept it. His own life in someone else's control? Never. It was unthinkable, wasn't it? Was it even possible?
Pues en este
Had he
momento tú me
truly
estás
spent
controlando,
his
güey.
entire life utterly blind to the world? But here was the proof. The heart of the operation. Controls labeled with emotions. Happy or sad or content. Walking, eating, working. All of it monitored and commanded from this very place. And as the cold reality of his past began to sink in, Stanley decided that this machinery would never again exert its
O sea, de
terrible
que
power
controlaban
over another
nuestras
human life. For he
emociones.
would dismantle the controls once and for all.
Y nosotros tenemos que destruirlo para que no controlen a nadie más. Por eso nos sentimos súper felices. ¿Y qué pasa si les pico? No, pues nada, porque no hay nadie. ¿Y cómo los venzo? Qué feo descubrir que tu vida ha sido controlada todo ese tiempo y nunca tuviste tus propias decisiones. Aunque, bueno, es que él era feliz sin tomar sus propias decisiones, pero realmente no era feliz. ¿Alguien le estaba diciendo que era feliz? Dios mío. Pero, o sea, si se dan cuenta, seguimos sin tomar nuestras propias decisiones. Seguimos tomando las decisiones de esa pinche voz narradora. Que sí, igual y me salva de la muerte, ¿no? Pero me está diciendo qué hacer, entonces no es libre.
And when at last he found the source of the room's power, he knew it was his duty, his obligation, to put an end to this horrible place and to everything it stood for.
Uf. Vamos a pagarlo todo ya. A la chingada la fábrica, negocio. Ay, Dios mío santo, ¿por qué? No le puse pausa.
Was it over?
¿Se acabó?
Yes. He had won. He had defeated the machine, unshackled himself from someone else's command. Freedom was mere moments away. And yet, even as the immense door slowly opened, Stanley reflected on how many puzzles still lay unsolved. Where had his co-workers gone? How had he been freed from the machine's grasp? What other mysteries did this strange building hold? But as sunlight streamed into the chamber, he realized none of this mattered to him, for it was not knowledge or even power that he had been seeking, but happiness. Perhaps his goal had not been to understand, but to let go.
No, yo quiero
No
entender.
longer would anyone tell him where to go, what to do, or how to feel. Whatever life he lives, it will be his. And that was all he needed to know. It was perhaps the only thing worth knowing. Stanley stepped through the open door.
No, es que yo quiero saber por qué desaparecieron. Yo quiero saber, yo quiero saber. I know.
Stanley felt the cool breeze upon his skin, the feeling of liberation, the immense possibility of the new path before him. This was exactly the way, right now, that things were meant to happen. And Stanley was happy.
Pero yo quiero saber, lo siento, Stanley, tu felicidad me vale verga. Yo quiero saber qué pasó con los demás. Así que voy a regresar. Mira, ya no hay papeles tirados. Es que, o sea, ni siquiera me deja agarrar algo como para que digas, tú
A
que...
soft wind blew outside and perhaps rain started. Oh, please. Are you really just doing this for the achievement? Click a door 5 times. Is that all that you think an achievement is worth? No. I can't just give these merits away for such little effort. A measly 5 clicks. Now suppose you were to click the door 20 times. I would say that's the kind of effort that warrants recognition.
¿Quieres que la clique 20 veces? Ok. Dime algo. ¿Qué pasó? ¿Por qué se apagó? Quiero saber qué pasó con mis compañeros. Yo sí quiero saber.
To open doors, he entered the
No,
door on
vamos
his
a ir a la
left.
derecha ahora.
This was not the correct way to the meeting room, and Stanley knew it perfectly well. Perhaps he wanted to stop by the employee lounge first, just to admire it.
Y es que ve, hay un desmadre. ¿Qué pasó? ¿Qué pasó aquí? Dios mío, santo. Y le pico a todo, pero pues nada, ninguna puerta se abre. ¿Cómo voy a descubrir qué les pasó a mis compañeritos?
Yes, truly a room worth admiring. It had really been worth the detour after all, just to spend a few moments here in this immaculate, beautifully constructed room. Stanley simply stood here, drinking it all in.
Como el culo. No voy a parar nada más. Voy a revisar todo hasta descubrir qué le
But
hiciste, porque
eager to get
seguramente es
back to
tu
business,
culpa, güey.
Stanley took the first open door on his left.
La primera puerta a su izquierda. ¿Crees que la voy a tomar? No, no la voy a tomar, amigo. Estás pendejo, yo no te voy a
Stanley was
hacer
so
caso.
bad at following directions, it's incredible he wasn't 5 years ago.
Es que ya sabemos que me estaban controlando. Y si ahora voy a cliquear todo, me vale verga. ¿Qué hacíamos,
Look,
neta?
Stanley, I think
¿Qué
perhaps we've
vendemos?
gotten off on the wrong foot here. I'm not your enemy, really, I'm not. I realize that investing your trust in someone else can be difficult, but the fact is that the story is... But in his eagerness to prove that he is in control of the story and no one gets to tell him what to do, Stanley leapt from the platform and plunged to his death. Good job, Stanley. Everyone thinks you are very powerful.
Gracias. Somos
We've gotten off on
Amazon.
the wrong foot
En
here.
eso
I'm
trabajamos.
not your enemy, really, I'm not. I realize that investing your trust in someone else can be difficult, but the fact is that the story has been about nothing but you all this time.
Es que es
Someone you've been
cierto.
neglecting, Stanley. Someone you've forgotten about. Please, stop trying to make every
que me
decision by
olvidé.
yourself. Now, I'm not asking for me, I'm asking for her.
¿Quién? ¿Quién? ¿Ella quién? ¿Tenemos
This is
una
it,
novia?
Stanley. Your chance to redeem yourself, to put your work aside, to let her back into your life. She's been waiting.
Oh, a ver. Es que sí, el vato básicamente sí es bueno, ¿no? Porque nos ayudó a salir. Supongo que con ellos esperando se refiere a que teníamos alguna novia, alguna hija, mamá, no sé, allá afuera esperando a que saliéramos de este control mental que teníamos. Pero yo quiero saber qué pasó con estos güeyes. O sea, te entiendo, vos me quieres sacar de aquí, quieres que regrese a mi vida, pero ¿qué pasó con estos cabrones? Necesito saberlo. ¡Ay, puta madre!
That's her, Stanley. You need to be the one to do this, to reach out to her.
Ok, vamos a ver quién es esa tal ella. ¿427?
Stanley, is that you? Hold on, sweetie. Sorry
Es
to
mi
keep you
novia.
waiting. I'm just pulling the bread out of the oven. All right. Okay, there we go. All right, now, I want you to come in and tell me all about your day.
Gotcha. Oh, come on. Did you actually think you had a loving wife who'd want to commit their life to you? I'm trying to
Sí.
make a point here, Stanley. I'm trying to get you to see something. Come inside. Let me show you what's really going on here.
Ok, falta esposa. ¿Qué pasa?
This is a very sad story about the death of a man named Stanley.
¿Por qué muerte? Presione 4 en su teclado y si no quiero...
Stanley is quite a boring fellow. He has a job that demands nothing of him, and every button that he pushes is a reminder of the inconsequential nature of his existence.
¿Uno? Ah, no, Y.
Look at him there, pushing buttons, doing exactly what he's told to do. Now he's pushing a button. Now he's eating lunch. Now he's going home. Now he's coming back to work. One might even feel sorry for him, except that he's chosen this life.
Ya. ¿Qué?
But in his mind, in his mind he can go on fantastic adventures. From behind his desk, Stanley dreamed of wild expeditions into the
disociando?
unknown.
¿Es eso?
Fantastic discoveries of new lands. It was wonderful. And each day that he returned to work was a reminder that none of it would ever happen to him.
Chale, presioné para mirar TV.
And
O
so he
sea,
began to fantasize about his own job. First, he imagined that one day while at work, he stepped up from his desk to realize that all
¿todo
of
es mi
his
imaginación?
co-workers, his boss, everyone in the building had suddenly vanished off the face of the earth. The thought excited him terribly.
Eh,
So he went further. He imagined that he came to two open doors and that he could go through either. At last, choice. It barely even mattered what lay behind each door. The mere thought that his decisions would mean something was almost too wonderful to behold.
o sea, hemos estado imaginando esto todo el tiempo y seguimos
As he
trabajando.
wandered through this fantasy world, he began to fill it with many possible paths and destinations. Down one path lay an enormous round room with monitors and mind controls, and down another was a yellow line that weaved in many directions, and down another was a game with a baby, and he called
¿Bebé?
it the Stanley Parable. It was such a wonderful fantasy, and so in his head he relived it again, and then again, and again, over and over, wishing beyond hope that it would never end, that he might always feel this free. Surely there's an answer down some new path, mustn't there be? Perhaps if he played just one more time.
Te amo.
But there is no
Oh,
answer.
no.
How could there possibly be? In reality, all he's doing is pushing the same buttons he always has. Nothing has changed. The longer he spends here, the more invested he gets, the more he forgets which life is the real one.
No puede ser
And
verdad.
I'm trying to tell him this, that in this world he can never be anything but an observer, that as long as he remains here, he's slowly killing himself. But he won't listen to me. He won't stop. Here, watch this. Stanley, the next time the screen asks you to push a button, do not do it.
No lo voy a hacer. Si duró mucho tiempo sin picarle, me dirá felicidades, no lo hiciste o algo así. Ahí está mi cama, quiero ir a mi cama, quiero dormir. O sea, todo lo hemos estado imaginando. Seguimos siendo prisioneros, aún después del final de la libertad. No lo voy a hacer. Ok, lo voy a hacer, ya me enfadé.
You see? Can he just not hear me? How can I tell him in a way that he'll understand that every second he remains here, he's electing to kill himself? How can I get him to see what I see? How can I make him look at himself?
No lo sé.
I suppose I can't, not in the way I want him to. But I don't make the rules. I simply play to my intended purpose, the same as Stanley. We're not so different, I suppose. I'll try once more to convey all this to him. I'm compelled to. I must. Perhaps, well, maybe this time he'll see. Maybe this time. And I tried again, and Stanley pushed a button. And I tried again, and Stanley pushed a button. And I tried.
Ok, ahora, ¿qué otra cosa no hemos... ¿Qué otra cosa nos falta como que enfrentar? Llegar al control mental y picarle en off.
Back to business, Stanley took the first open door on his left.
Ok, regreso.
And so he detoured through the maintenance section, walked straight ahead to the opposite door, and got back on track.
No. Voy a morir otra vez, pero va a ser otro final. ¿Cuántos finales tendrá esto? Parece que en el único en el que salimos vivos es en el que seguimos todas las
But Stanley
instrucciones,
didn't
¿no?
want to go back to the office. He wanted to wander about and get even further off track. So now in order to get back, he needed to go, from here it's, left. Oh, no.
Ay,
No, it's to the right. My mistake.
hijo de perra.
No, not the right. Why would I have ever said it was to the right? What was I thinking? It's clearly... Oh dear, would you hold on for a minute, please? Now, let's see. We went down, right,
¿Dónde
left,
es?
down, left, right. Yep, okay, yes. I've got it now. This story is absolutely, definitely this way.
Oh, por el medio, ok. Ay.
No. This isn't right at all. You're not supposed to be here yet. This is all a spoiler. Quick, Stanley, close your eyes.
No.
Okay. We just have to get back to,
El
Poor
despe-
Mikey.
Mira, ya sale que alguien
it's
está
all rubbish
despedido.
now. The whole story,
¿Quién?
completely unusable.
No
How
veo.
about, rather than waste my time trying to salvage this nonsense, we'll just restart the game from the beginning. And this time, suppose we don't wander so far off track, Okay, from the top.
No, me lo reinició.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo. When Stanley... Wait, what?
Esto cambió.
No, I restarted, I swear. Game over, completely fresh. Everything should be... Or did something change? Stanley,
No,
did
no
you
cambié
change
nada.
anything when we were back in that room with all the monitors?
No.
Did you move the story somewhere or... Hold on. Why am I asking you? I'm the one who wrote the story. It was right here just a minute ago. I know for sure that it's here somewhere. Okay, then. It's an adventure. Come, Stanley. Let's find the story.
Esto es diferente también, ¿verdad? Creo que sí. Ay, no. Todo eso es diferente. Sí, me va a poner a encontrar algo por mi cuenta. Todo se ve igual. Ah, no, aquí hay algo diferente.
I'll say it. This is the worst adventure I've ever been on. I can promise you there definitely was a story here before. Do we need to restart the game again? Well, I find it unlikely that we'll ever progress by starting over and over again, but it's got to be better than this. Okay, let's give it a shot. Why not?
En el cartel ese decía que todos saben lo que hice y que soy culpable y que solo están dejando que me torture a mí mismo.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean?
¿A qué se
Stanley decided to
refiere?
go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
¿A qué se refieren? ¿Qué hice?
Okay, yep,
What the
it's
fuck?
worse. I might be remembering this wrong. It's possible the story is back where we just came from. Why don't we go back the other direction and see if we missed anything?
Ay, regresamos entonces y vemos que se nos olvidó. Bueno, que se le olvidó a él, esta es su historia. Maldito responsable que no sabe acomodar sus papeles. ¿Hasta dónde me tengo que ir? ¿Hasta mi oficina o qué?
Aha! I knew we'd miss something. The story. Here it comes. No, wait, never mind. Not the story. Okay, let's head back the other way and retrace our steps.
Ya. Eres un buen narrador. What the fuck? What the fuck?
Now this... Well, I'll be honest, I don't recognize this place at all. Is this the story?
¿Cómo de que
I
no lo
don't think so.
reconoces?
I can't quite recall, but I believe my story took place in an office building. Is that correct?
¿Tienes
Do you
Alzheimer
remember,
o qué?
Stanley?
No.
Well, you know what? Since I've completely forgotten what we were supposed to be doing, how about this? You win! Congratulations! I know you put in a lot of hard work, and it really paid off, so good job. Oh, no, I don't feel right about this at all. We
No.
both know you didn't put in any actual work for that win. Some people win fair and square, and this was not one of those situations. Okay? I'm getting weirded out by whatever this place is. I don't care what might happen this time. I have to restart.
Reinicia. What the fuck, no creí que fuera a cambiar tanto por... O sea, las otras decisiones eran más cortas, esta siendo más larga.
All right, I've got
Okay.
a solution. This time, to make sure we don't get lost, I've employed the help of the Stanley Parable Adventure Line.
No era
Just
por
follow
aquí.
the line. How simple is that?
Pero no era por aquí. Amigo. Amigo, te
You see,
equivocaste otra vez.
the line knows where the story is. It's over in this direction. Onward, Stanley, to destiny. Though, here's a thought. Wouldn't wherever we end up be our destination, even if there's no story there? Or to put it another way, is the story of no destination still a story? Simply by the act of moving forward, are we implying a journey such that a destination is inevitably conjured into being via the very manifestation of the nature of life itself? Whoa. Hang on. That got a bit weird back there. Well, I'd like to apologize. Not sure where I was going with all that. You know
What
what?
the fuck?
I think what we need right now is a bit of music to lighten the mood.
Ok, gracias a la música. Ah, sí, ahorita. Paso por aquí. Quedo como Troy Bolton cuando se pone a girar todo el escenario en High School Musical. Sí, ambiente, ¿eh? En zigzag, de su madre. Es que, ¿saben algo gracioso? ¿Cómo se llama Stanley? Me imagino a Stanley el de The Office haciendo esto. Y aparte es una oficina. Pam y Jim y todos los de la oficina desaparecieron. Ay, no voy a seguir eso de verdad, ¿eh? Yo lo iba a hacer. Yawn.
Wait, cut the music. Go back and look at that fern.
Está bonito.
Stanley, this fern will be very important later in the story.
Ok.
Make sure you study it closely and remember it carefully. You won't want to miss anything.
Nah, no me voy a perder nada, no te preocupes, es un chingo el hecho que se me va a olvidar.
Wait, what? We're back at the office? No. Line, you do know we're looking for the Stanley Parable, right? The story?
Ajá.
Is any of this ringing a bell? Oh, no, not again. Line, how could you have done this to us? And after we trusted you, after everything we've been through,
Acá hay otro
you...
despedido.
Oh, I can't take this anymore. To hell with it. Restart.
Vamos a ver otra vez. ¿Por qué no me dices nada? Dime algo.
You know what,
Uy.
Stanley? I say forget the adventure line. What's it ever done for us? We're intelligent people, right? Why can't we make up our
claro.
own story? Something exciting, daring, mysterious. Oh, this all sounds perfectly doable. Why don't we simply start wandering in, well, I don't know. How about this direction?
Ok. Esto no se había abierto antes. Pensé que era una oficina.
Now, yes, this is exciting. Just me and Stanley forging a new path.
Somos
a new
compañeros
story.
ahora.
Well, it could be anything. What do you
Compañeros de
want our
aventura.
story to be? Go wild. Use your imagination. Whatever it might be, Stanley, I'm ready for it.
Ay. Sí, raro acá. Sí, ¿verdad? Sí.
Oh, no, not you again. Stanley, I'd also like to veto the line from having any role in our awesome new story. No lines or monitor rooms. Just don't acknowledge it. We should be fine.
No la sigo entonces, pero... Pues está ahí, ¿sabes? Es como si la estuviera siguiendo, pero no te preocupes, yo lo ignoro, amigo. Ahora somos amigos el narrador y yo. Qué agradable sujeto. Ojalá le vaya bien en la vida. ¿Qué es esto?
A choice. We get to make a decision. From here, the story is in our control. How important we mustn't squander the opportunity. In fact, I believe I need a minute to think here. Just walk in circles for a minute. Okay, so I know that each door has to lead somewhere, which means that somewhere, the place where we're trying to go, there must be a reverse door that leads here. And that in turn means that our destination corresponds with the counter-inverted reverse door's origin. So starting from the right, let us ask, will taking the right door lead us to where we're going? And
Así que
since
si
the
es a la
answer is
izquierda.
clearly yes, then by all accounts, the door on the right is the correct one. Another victory for logic. Come, Stanley, our destiny awaits.
No entiendo la lógica que usó para elegir la derecha.
Oh, hold up, what's this?
Al final de
The
confusión.
confusion ending. You're telling me that's what this is? It's all one giant ending? And we're supposed to restart the game eight times? That's really how all this goes? It's all determined? So now, according to the schedule, I restart again. Then what? Am I just supposed to forget? Well, what if I don't want to forget? My mind goes blank simply because it's written here on this thing, wall. Well, who consulted me? Why don't I get to decide? Why don't I get a say in all of this? Is it really? No, it can't be. I don't want it to be. I don't want the game to keep
estamos en el
restarting.
cuarto.
I don't want to forget what's going on. I don't
En
want to be
el-
trapped like this. I
¿No
won't
quieres?
restart the game. I won't do it. I won't do it. I won't do it.
Ok, pero lo vas a hacer y te vas a olvidar de que lo hiciste.
Stopped? Does that mean, did we do it?
Ah, ¿no lo
Did we
vas a
break
hacer?
the cycle? The, whatever it is that made this schedule?
No lo
How
hagas,
do we
amigo.
even know?
Rompe las
Will
reglas.
someone come for us?
No me digas
Will
eso.
something happen?
No me digas que alguien va a venir. Me da miedo.
So, okay.
Ok. Si lo
I
hubieras
guess now
seguido.
just wait. You know, I suppose in some way that this is a kind of story. Wouldn't you agree? I'm not quite sure if we're in the destination or the journey, though they're always saying that life is about the journey and not the destination. So I hope that's where we are right now. We'll find out, won't we? Eventually. Well, in the meantime,
Me asustó. Ok, según lo que alcancé a leer, él se va a olvidar de que lo reinició y luego lo va a reiniciar otra vez. Faltan.
all of his
Más.
co-workers were gone. What could
Se
it mean?
olvidó de que lo reinició.
Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
Pero lo va a reiniciar otra vez en algún momento o algo así. Bueno, vamos ya y vamos a ponerle que no lo queremos pagar. On.
Oh, Stanley, you didn't just activate the controls, did you?
Sí, eso hice.
After they kept you enslaved all these years, you go and you try to take control of the machine for yourself. Is that what you wanted? Control? Oh, Stanley, I applaud your effort, I really do. But you need to understand, there's only so much that machine can
Voy a
do.
controlarlos a
You were
todos.
supposed to let it go. Turn the controls off and leave. If you want to throw my story off track, you're going to have to do much better than that. I'm afraid you don't have nearly the power you think you do. For example, and I believe you'll find this pertinent, Stanley suddenly realized he had just initiated the network's emergency detonation system. In the event that this machine is activated without proper DNA identification, nuclear detonators are set to explode, eliminating the entire complex.
Me va a explotar.
How long until detonation then? Let's say 2 minutes. Ah, now this is making things a little more fun, isn't it, Stanley?
¿Y cómo me
It's
voy?
your time to shine. You are the star. It's your story now. Shape it to your heart's desires.
Ay, esta no
This is
salida.
much better than what I had in mind. What a shame we
No.
have so little time left to enjoy it. Mere moments until the bomb goes off. But what precious moments each one of them is. More time to talk about you, about me,
Ahora sí tengo que
where we're
buscarle
going,
esto.
what all
Ok.
this means. I barely know where to start. What's that? You'd like to know where your co-workers are? A moment of solace before you're obliterated?
Sí, dímelo, dímelo,
All
dímelo.
right, I'm in a good mood. You're going to die anyway. I'll tell you exactly what happened
Dímelo,
to them.
dímelo, dímelo, dímelo.
I
dímelo.
erased them. I turned off the machine. I set you free. Of course, that was merely in this instance of the story. Sometimes when I tell it, I simply let you sit there in your office forever, pushing buttons endlessly and then dying alone. Other times, I let the office sink into the ground, swallowing everyone inside, or I let it burn to a crisp. I have to say this, though, this version of events has been rather amusing. Watching you try to make sense of everything and take back the control wrested away from you, it's quite rich. I almost hate to see it go. But I'm sure whatever I come up with on the next go-around will be even better. My goodness, only 34 seconds left. But I'm enjoying this
¿Qué?
so
¿En
much.
serio?
You know what? To hell with it. I'm going to put some extra
Sí,
time
por
on
favor.
the clock. Why not?
Estoy tratando de
These are
poner los
precious
números
additional seconds, Stanley. Time doesn't grow on
en
trees. Oh
que
dear
están en la
me,
pared.
what's the matter, Stanley? Is it that you have no idea where you're going or what you're supposed to be doing right now? Or did you just assume when you saw that timer that something in this room was capable
Oh, creo
of
que ya
turning it
entendí.
off?
¿Uno?
I mean, look at you. Running from button to button,
What the fuck?
screen to screen, clicking on every little
¿O
thing
será
in this room.
521?
These numbered buttons. No, these colored ones. Or maybe this big red button. Or this door. Everything, anything, something here will save me. Why would you think that, Stanley? That this video game can be beaten? Won? Solved? Do you have any idea what your purpose in this place is?
No sé.
Stanley, you're in for quite a disappointment. But here's a spoiler for you. That timer isn't a catalyst to keep the action moving along. It's just seconds ticking away to your death. You're only still playing instead of watching a cutscene because I want to watch you for every moment that you're powerless. To see you made humble.
No me
This is not a
digas eso,
challenge.
de ver lo
It's
que
a
puede ser.
tragedy. You wanted to control this world, that's fine. But I'm going to destroy it first. So you
427.
can't.
427.
Take a look at the
No
clock,
tengo un
Stanley.
7.
That's 30 seconds you have left to struggle. 30 seconds until a big boom and then nothing. No ending here. Just you being blown to pieces. Will you cling
Ya
desperately
probé
to your frail life?
321.
Or will you let it go
¿De verdad
peacefully?
no hay nada?
Another choice. Make
Ah.
it count. Or don't. It's all the same to me. All a part of the joke. And believe me, I will be laughing at every second of your inevitable life from the moment we fade in until the moment I say, happily ever after.
Ya. Fue todo este juego ya. No sé si había otro final, voy a buscar. Si quieren que busque otro, me dicen. Ok, parece que ya el último que estaba raro solo era como que porque el juego estaba harto de que estuviéramos reiniciando tantas veces, pero básicamente fue el mismo final feliz. Estuvo muy cool, espero que haya más finales, voy a ver si hay más finales para jugar, siento que me salté cosas, pero no sé, según yo revisé todo lo revisable. Am, entonces ya vamos a dejarla desde aquí y esperen que el siguiente video sea de los Sims. Voy a tratar de hacerlo lo menos aburrido posible porque el primer capítulo va a ser de cómo los visto, cómo creo los personajes. Si tienen idea de qué personaje hacer, qué nombre ponerle, cómo hacerlo, lo que sea, me lo pueden poner y lo hacemos. Y eso sería todo. Muchas gracias por ver. Espero que se suscriban y dejen un bonito like porque si no, duro otro mes sin hacer videos. Adiós.